Hi students, this is teacher Des. Are you ready to read some stories and learn some idioms and expressions? Very good. This is Unit 7 and our topic today is about Spaniards paint the town red. In this picture you can see people and they are having fun using tomatoes. Okay, now let's read the story and find out why the Spaniards paint the town red. This story happened in Buñol, Spain. Let's read the story now. I will read this first in a slow-paced mode. Then you can join me in reading this passage again in a fast-paced mode. Let's start. Once a year, the town of Buñol in Spain throws a big party. The festival is called La Tomatina. To get ready, townspeople put big plastic sheets over their windows. By noon, on the day of the festival, an enormous crowd gathers on the central square. People shout, "Tomato, tomato," at the top of their lungs. They're dying to see the tomatoes. Just after 12 noon, the tomatoes arrive in 5 big trucks. Some people put on goggles. The trucks dump the tomatoes and the party begins. People go bananas. They dive into the tomatoes and begin throwing them everywhere. Before long, the square is a red, juicy pool. It's wonderful to let loose and throw a big wet tomato at a neighbor, says Minerva Gonzalez of Buñol. Everyone has a great time. Now students, let's read the passage again or the story again in a fast-paced mode. Once a year, the town of Buñol in Spain throws a big party. The festival is called La Tomatina. To get ready, townspeople put big plastic sheets over their windows. By noon on the day of the festival, an enormous crowd gathers on the central square. People shout, "Tomato, tomato," at the top of their lungs. They're dying to see tomatoes. Just after 12 noon, the tomatoes arrive in 5 big trucks. Some people put on goggles. The trucks dump the tomatoes and the party begins. People go bananas. They dive into the tomatoes and begin throwing them everywhere. Before long, the square is red, juicy pool. It's wonderful to let loose and throw a big wet tomato at a neighbor, says Minerva Gonzalez of Buñol. Everyone has a great time. Well, students, I hope that you also have a great time reading this story. Now, let's read the idioms and expressions. Our first idiom here is paint the town red. When we say paint the town red, it means celebrate wildly. The title of our story, it says Spaniards paint the town red. The other sentence of this is Spaniards celebrate wildly. Our next idiom is once a year. It means one time each year. In this part, you can read, once a year, the town of Buñol in Spain throws a big party. In other words, one time each year, the town of Buñol in Spain throws a big party. Next idiom is throw a party. When we say throw a party, it means organize and have a party. Well, in this sentence, okay, you can read, once a year, the town of Buñol in Spain throws a big party. That means One time each year, the town of Buñol in Spain organizes a big party. Next idiom is get ready. When we say get ready, it means prepare. In this part, you can read the idiom get ready. To get ready, townspeople put big plastic sheets on their windows. In other words, to prepare, townspeople put big plastic sheets over their windows. At the top of one's lungs, this is our next idiom. It means very loudly. In this part, people shout tomato, tomato at the top of their lungs. In other words, people shout tomato, tomato very loudly. Next is be dying to do something. It means want to do something very much. Next, in this next sentence, they're dying to see the tomatoes. In other words, they want to see the tomatoes. Okay. Next is go bananas. When we say go bananas, it means go bananas. Okay, it means become very excited and act wildly. In this sentence, you can read people go bananas. In other words, people become very excited and act wildly. Before long is our next idiom. It means soon. And this part, you can read before long, the square is red, juicy pool. That means soon the square is a red, juicy pool. Let loose is our next idiom. It means act freely or release energy. In this part, you can read, it's wonderful to let loose and throw a big wet tomato at a neighbor. In other words, it's wonderful to act freely and throw a big wet tomato at a neighbor. Next, our last idiom is have a great time. When we say have a great time, it means enjoy oneself very much. In this part, everyone has a great time. It means everyone enjoys very much. Well, students, I really hope that you can use these idioms on your own, okay? And please don't forget to review this part here. Once again, this is Teacher Tess, and I'll see you next time as we explore Can You Believe It? Book 2.
You are not.